We pick up our first win of the season, the first win in the Joseph Cooley era. Freshman sensation Joe McKenzie picks up his best game of his collegiate career high 184 yards receiving on 5 receptions and 3 total touchdowns, which included this end-around run into the end zone. We beat the Army Black Knights up there in West Point, New York. And with that, look at these numbers by Joe McKenzie, man. He could be the next great wide receiver since Jerry Rice back in the mid-1980s, well, the early mid-1980s. But we got a lot of work to do. So let's go out to Prairie View, Texas. Prairie View A&M come up short against the Cincinnati Bearcats, the defending Big East champions. And Cincinnati scored 14 points in the fourth. Jackson State is on a mission. Look at this. They didn't score any points in the fourth quarter, but they dominated the first 3 quarters. Beat East Carolina 34-7. Meanwhile, out there in Tempe, Arizona, the Alabama State Hornets are still letting people know that they're one of the best teams in the country without Joseph Cooley. They beat Arizona State 42-10. Ricky Bruce Lee with a hell of a game. Florida A&M Norfolk State. Florida A&M beat them 35-32 down there in Gainesville, Florida. Arkansas Pine Bluff comes up just 1 possession short, losing to the Florida Gators, who were ranked number 13. Alcorn State, Arkansas. Arkansas runs Alcorn State out of the football field. Southern UNLV out there in Vegas. UNLV win 41-18. UNLV dominated the second and the third quarter. And that concludes the SWAC. Let's look at the MEAC real quick. Up there, Dover, Delaware. Delaware State beat Duke 35-10. Delaware State dominated the fourth quarter, 21 points. Indiana Hoosiers hosting the Morgan State Bears. Morgan State going short 38-21. Hopefully they'll get better next time. Howard hosting the Michigan State Spartans. Howard win 42-21, picking up their first win of the season. Spartans on an 8-game losing streak. Tennessee State and that looks like the Texas Longhorns in Austin. Tennessee State defeat the Texas Longhorns. Texas has really fallen off in this series. Hampton Powers and Kansas Jayhawks. Kansas wins. It looks like the game with the overtime. And both quarterbacks balled out. Johnson for Kansas had 5 touchdowns. Florida A&M hosting, oh yeah, I forgot, we already covered that. So let's go to San Diego. South Carolina State. South Carolina State winning overtime, beating the San Diego State Aztecs 37-34. Big win out in the West Coast for the Bulldogs of Orangeburg. And then you have North Carolina A&T losing to the Wolfpack of North Carolina State. North Carolina State put up 28 points in the second quarter. Goodness. Heisman watch list. Let's go spy on the Hornets real quick. Brian Beno Cook still holding on to first place, but look at this. Another Hornet has popped up on this list, and there he is. Ricky Bruce Lee having an outstanding season, had an outstanding game versus Arizona State. Paul Alford, running back from Kansas State, and then Brian Durbin of the Miami Hurricanes. The Hurricanes of Miami are looking to get over that hump and get to a natty. Joe McKenzie is being acknowledged for his performance, and so is Antonio Johnson. Mississippi Valley State Delta Devils sweep out the offensive and defensive players of the week in the SWAC, and well deserved. We just want to get better from here. Meanwhile, over at the MEAC, Cedric Knox of Delaware State, Alan Dawson of South Carolina State take home offensive and defensive players of the week. Look at the numbers on Dawson. 10 tackles, 5 for loss, 2 sacks and a forced fumble. While Knox had 28 carries, 120 yards and 3 tutties. So this concludes the Delta. Join us next time. We're going into SWAC play. First game as head coach of Mississippi Valley State going into conference play. We're going to be in Houston, Texas. And we're going to be taking on the Texas Southern Tigers. This team has defense. They like to run the football. And they do every now and then have a legit wide receiver on the outside that will go and get that thing. But we have to be ready to play, man. No doubt about that. Because this team is not going to be easy to play against. because their defense is always solid. Thank you for watching. Peace.